Hey there! Today we'll have a look at a very interesting pen, I think. I was tipped off. I have many pen spies. And someone sent me an email and he said, you should check this out. There's a Dutch store, and I have reviewed another pen they sell at some point. It's called Action, and it's not really a dollar store, but it's a budget type store where they have very cheap stuff. And he sent me a link to their new products, and in the products was this fountain pen. And believe it or not, this is ja eine Pelikan, alright? This is a Pelikan. I'm just going to say Pelikan because it's a little easy to pronounce in fluent English sentences, to the extent that my sentences ever are fluent. But a Pelikan pen, alright? And this cost €2.99. So call it what? $3.5, $4, I don't know, something, a couple of dollars. A Pelikan. Alright, now, we need to check this out because obviously I was immediately fascinated. I like Pelikan. I think it's a great brand. They offer pens that are affordable and yet, well, relatively affordable anyway, and that write very well. I haven't seen a lot of Pelikans that don't write wonderfully. Piston fillers often, great stuff. This is not a piston filler and doesn't write fantastically. But tell you what, it's a cheap Pelikan. What more could you wish for? Alright, I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then I'll do a writing sample. Okay, let's start here. The cap. The cap has nothing on top but that weird sort of, what is that, two crescent shaped things. But it has a lanyard hole. You can put it around your neck. Carry it. Obviously, this is a pen, it's a bit smaller, geared towards children. And that's fine, because this is a knockabout pen. This is also a cool pen to gift people. Alright? You have that little loop, and you have a clip. It's all plastic. What is the clip? Clip is springy, but I'm willing to bet a lot of money I can easily snap this in half. So I would be a little careful with that, but okay. The cap has a very nice material. It has a bit of texture, making for a nice cap that offers a good grip. It's easy to grip. Okay. Then we have the barrel. The barrel is cute. It's cute. It has little things on it. I mean, it's just the professor would say add a little bit of detail. It has weird dashes on it, and of course, Pelikan with the little Pelikan logo. And then at the end, you have that little end cap thing, and that has the same texture as the cap. Also interesting is that at the very end, because I know you're going to ask, you cannot convert this to an eyedropper because it has two holes. And the holes, as I've been told, are there so that when children swallow the barrel, they can still breathe and won't choke. That's true, I don't know, but someone is now going to tell me that it probably is. That means that if you want to convert this to an eyedropper, of course you have to plug those two holes. Alright, the section unscrews. Simple, international, short cartridge. I think you might just be able to fit in an international long, but I do think that would be a slightly tight fit. And I have to be honest, I haven't tried that. Converter, of course, same thing, has to just fit. The section, again, that grippy-ish material, it's not squishy, it is just hard plastic with a bit of texture. And as you may be able to see from the light reflections, this is a slightly triangular section. I mean, clearly this is round, but it has facets of sorts that you can use to grip it. It's also kind of tapered, so very slightly sort of an hourglass shape, I suppose. And I think it's a decent section. It offers a nice grip because it's slightly triangular. It's easy to hold, and again, I do think this is made for children. It's clearly not very big, but of course you can post it and have a decent pen. It's very light because it's all plastic, so it's kind of nice. Nib, simple, folded steel. So this is no tipping, it's just a nib, and what they do is you have the nib, and then instead of putting tipping at the end, they just fold over the ends so that you get the idea of tipping while there is no tipping. Simple, steel, nothing fancy, and also a very simple feed. Okay, so there you have it. Simple, of course. The issue with a folded nib is that it can wear out a bit faster than a regular nib because it has no very hard tipping. But even so, if you don't write on extremely rough paper, I really don't think it's going to wear out that quickly. What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Well, there are some things I really like. Obviously, at this price, any pen is hard to beat. You're talking about a couple of dollars, a couple of euros, very inexpensive. And I think these are great pens for children, or pens you can gift someone if you want to introduce them to fountain pens. Now, of course, it is Pelikan pen, but yeah, it's not really representative of the brand, I would say. If something in their lower range, like an M200 even, has a completely different feel. This feels very plasticky. It looks plasticky, but I think it looks cute. I think this is a type of shape that would appeal to children. It also doesn't feel very fragile, which is nice. These are all things I like. Now, there's also a couple of things I don't like. The nib was a little bit skippy, and that is something that you wouldn't really want, especially for children who are learning to write. It should flow very consistently. My biggest issue, to be honest, was not so much that even, because, yeah, okay, it's a bit skippy, maybe try a different ink. Also interesting, by the way, they include a box of 6 Pelikan cartridges. So in that €3, you have 6 Pelikan Royal Blue cartridges included, which I think that alone is an amazing deal. Especially because you get a pen. Now, my biggest issue is uncapping the pen. And it sounds odd maybe, but that really requires some force. And if you listen to this snap, you may see what I mean. It really requires some strength. And if I were to do this single-handedly, it's possible, but it really requires some strength. One downside to that is what you see right here. Because of the impact upon capping it, some ink just gets sprayed onto the nib, and of course they can end up inside the cap, end up on the section, blue fingers, disasters, the world collapses. So that's, I don't like that so much, especially because this seems to be a pen geared towards children. It's even called the Happy, alright? So if it requires such strength to uncap it, and I don't know, maybe it's just this model. There's always the problem with reviewing it. I don't know if all of these pens are like this, or if it's just this one. So if you have one, you have the same thing, or don't have the same thing, please chime in. It's useful for everyone. But for children who have small, little, cute hands, I can see that this would be an issue to uncap, right? On the other hand, you could also say that if this pen is supposed to be worn on a lanyard around the neck, you don't want the cap to be too loose so that the pen flies off, rolls across the ground, rolls under a car tries to brake, giant traffic jams, enormous accidents, etc. So it's a bit of a two-sided sword, two-edged sword. Most swords have two sides, sorry. So, I don't know. Anyway, what you do get is about a €3 pen with 6 cartridges. It is a Pelikan. It writes. It's a bit skippy, but it writes. Very fascinating. So I would say check it out if you're in the market for an inexpensive pen. Knockabout pen for your children, grandchildren, etc. You could do worse than get this. Oh, and the final thing I wanted to mention is I didn't really like this. You see that there's a bit of an ugly gap between the barrel and cap, which, if it would be a more expensive pen, I would find that a bigger deal. In an inexpensive pen like this, yeah, this is what you get. Tolerances are not going to be as tight. Okay, measurements of the pen will be on the website sbrebrown.com, as well as high-resolution pictures taken by Gourmet Pens. The reason I mention that is that her pictures are infinitely better than mine ever will be. Of course, the next thing we have to do is writing sample. That's coming up next. Thank you to my dear spy who alerted me to the presence of this pen in action. Let's see how it writes. Hope this was useful so far, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, here we go with the Pelikan Happy, which, as you can see, skipped there. Ink, just a cartridge. And the nib is some fine or medium. I guess it's a fine. The fast writing, yeah, you get some feedback. but it doesn't skip that much here, which is very nice. Wetness, it's Pelikan Royal Blue in there, and it is relatively wet. Line variation, as you can see, you can squeeze some out. At some point you get some railroading, but there's definitely some line variation to be had. And for those of you who enjoy reverse writing, it's possible but very scratchy. I can just feel it picking up paper fiber as I do that. Okay, thanks a lot to my kind spy for alerting me to the presence of this pen. It's definitely a funny pen. Hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later.